But we are joined now by a man. We have this discussion probably once a month.
Yeah.
About these parents that push their kids athletically.
Right.
Because you want your kid eventually to get a college scholarship because college costs have gotten so out of control that it's $100,000 to $300,000.
It's like you have to buy a high-end house that you'll never live in.
You got it. Yes. So a lot of fathers, when they hear, my son got a college scholarship to play football or basketball or whatever, they're fine with it. That's awesome. That's all I ever wanted. There's a man sitting across from us here, Buffalo Bills wide receiver Kain Colter, who may have changed everything when it comes to NCAA athletes. Because, Kain, you're a guy. Thanks for joining us, by the way. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
You're a guy who, while at Northwestern, and this became international news, decided that this college education I am getting isn't equal pay for what I'm putting out on the field while I'm here. Tell me if you think if that's wrong.
Kind of. I think when people are talking about this discussion, they immediately jump to pay for play and things like that. The thing that I wanted to address first off were the medical issues. A lot of people don't know that when we step on that field and we get injured, there's no guarantee that the school is going to cover our injury, even though there's 100,000 people watching our games.
So you might have to pay for your own medical and then lose your scholarship on top of that.
Correct. Yeah, usually they do it right, but a lot of these injuries are chronic. So if you need to come down, 5 years, let's say you blow your knee out, and you come back 5 years later and you say, it's still bothering me, I need another operation. The school's not going to cover that. And you don't have workers' compensation, you don't have anything like that. So if you were able to say that these guys were employees and prove that in court, and then eventually able to unionize these athletes, they'd be able to have a voice and the leverage to negotiate over the benefits that are going to protect them.
But that's what you did. I mean, it's always been forever and ever. It's amateur play, amateur in quotes, right?
Yeah.
We're going to give you this scholarship, and that should be enough. And you, for the first time in the history of all this stuff, you are the guy that said, no, we're not going to do this anymore. You tried to unionize the guys out at Northwestern University.
Correct. It was definitely it was a different thing to do. Nobody had ever done it, and I didn't really know what was going to come from it. I just knew that college athletes needed a voice whenever these rules and regulations were being decided upon. There was never college athletes in the room, negotiating over the things that were going to eventually affect us.
You should have done it old school style, like with brass knuckles and baseball bats, Like you should have come in like some Teamsters with some thugs, pushing guys around, set the stadium on fire. Next thing you know, the Dean's dog's missing.
But Kain,
you want to see Fluffy again? Huh?
I mean, that's honestly though, when you think about making changes, there are different ways to do it. You could try to go
the Italian way.
You could try to go through litigation and different routes like that, or you could have a strike and you could sit out and play. And you saw the guys at Missouri do that. Obviously not over those rules over the racial implications that were happening at that university, but that's always an option, and we decided to try this one.
Bills wide receiver Kain Colter hanging out. Kain, you may know that name. He's in the Stone Yard Brewing Company hot seat. Kain is the man. It's been 2 years now, 3 years.
It's been 2-3 years, somewhere around there.
I mean, it was international news everywhere. Kain attempted to unionize the Northwestern football players and prove that they were doing a job on top of what they were. They deserve compensation for it. Now, there are guys listening to this show right now who they're making $30,000, $40,000 a year. They're dreading having to help their kids with college, and they are yelling into the radio, "You got a free college education. I can't afford that. This is ungrateful of you to do." And what's your response to those guys?
Yeah, I mean, we are grateful for our college opportunity, but I think a lot of people don't look past what it really is. And before, we took these steps on, it wasn't a 4-year guaranteed scholarship. It was 1 year renewable based on the coach's discretion. So you're able to recruit all these kids, most of them who aren't even prepared to succeed at the college level. They come from low-income neighborhoods, and they're looking at this as their rags to riches way to get out. And, you bring them into the university, and then you don't guarantee 4-year scholarship. So if they're not producing on the field, if they're not doing the things academically, they could immediately be cut. So that's one huge thing.
So you weren't looking for like $100,000 salary to go play college football. You were looking,
absolutely not.
You were looking basically for medical insurance and enough money to live.
Well, I'm not the one deciding this.
Right.
I'm trying to, create a platform where the players can sit with the NCAA director and all these people who are really making the money,
Right.
the people who are making millions and millions and millions of dollars off of our backs, and sit down and talk to them about, how can we come up with a way that's going to benefit everybody as
What's
a whole.
the stupid plan? Like, a guy can't buy you a sandwich. without somebody dropping a flag going, this is not right, which is, to me, stupid.
I mean, a lot of times guys didn't even have food. We didn't have money to live on. You heard the Shabazz Napier, who was played for UConn, and he was talking about, they're in the NCAA tournament, I think, going into the Final Four, and he's talking about how they have hungry nights, where they can't even go back and buy food. But meanwhile, they're selling your jerseys in the stands. Your coach is making $4 million a year. There's a big difference in the way the players get treated.
Kain Colter, Buffalo Bills wide receiver, hanging out with us in the Stoneyard Brewing Company hot seat, attempted to unionize the Northwestern football team, may have pushed the boulder forward to change absolutely everything. I know we got to get you out of here in a sec. Just what amazed me is I'm reading about all this stuff last night, and I've been really interested by the story for years, is that a lot of these college scholarships don't even cover the entire amount of money you need to go to school, like all of your tuition, all of your books and stuff like that.
Exactly. It was actually designed that way.
It's like a 50% off coupon.
When you see schools, they talk about their cost of attendance to go to that school, and you think you have a full scholarship. There's actually a shortfall, about $3,000 to $5,000 that you don't have to cover the full cost of attendance.
But they're calling it a full scholarship.
They call it a full scholarship, but it's actually not that. So that's actually a lot of the times why it's hard to get by for these players once they use their stipend checks to pay for rent. You don't really have much left over.
Sure. Kain Colter, Buffalo Bills wide receiver, may have changed absolutely everything for NCAA athletes.
Damn.
What? Well, you've had a rough time. You deserve some coconut water. We know practice is tough, so when you have to rehydrate, we're setting you up with a couple of bottles of Invo coconut water from our friends here. Besides containing 5 essential electrolytes to keep you hydrated, Invo coconut water has the true freshly cracked coconut water experience. A swag bag for you from Invo, and a $50 gift card to Wegmans down the street there.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Listen, man,
really appreciate it.
I really appreciate you coming in. I've been really looking forward to meeting you and talking about this. It's very interesting.
Yeah, thanks.
So, all right.
Hopefully we keep it going, and some more things will come from this.